So again, thank you to the participants for joining us today for today's Library Science Talk. Today is the 29th of April, 2024, and we have the pleasure of having with us Hannes Louwagie, who will be presenting to us the topic Power Automate Flow with Microsoft AI Builder. The way this event will unfold is we will have the presentation, and then afterwards there will be a Q&A session. So without any further ado, passing the floor to you, Hannes.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me also. I will start sharing my screen. Yeah. So I am Hannes Louwagie. I work in, I'm head of cataloging department. Do you share my screen? Yeah, is it visible or not? No. Okay.
No.
Allez.
Yes, fine.
Thank you.
Ah, yeah. Okay. I will tell more about the Power Automated Flow we tested with AI Builder. Now it's called AI Hub, and our tests of trying to optimize the cataloging in KBR. So KBR is the Royal Library of Belgium. I always start with this picture because it's sometimes on Facebook you can see it, or on other social media. It's like the old photo, and it's live before AutoCAD. And AutoCAD is a program where you can draw technical drawings, and it shows before like the modern tools. There was a lot of manual work. People had to draw on a table, and the question is, do you see the whole of my presentation, or do you see my notes? No, you see the right screen.
We see the slide, not your notes.
The slide.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And my question is, will people look at the same way at a picture like this? Like a cataloger who takes a book in hand, one by one, will in a couple of years people also think, oh, what an old-fashioned way to do the cataloging. Now we can do it completely different. So I will return to this picture at the end of my presentation. Yeah, I guess you know where Belgium is and what we are. So we are the Royal Library of Belgium. We are the national library. We have like approximately 5 million books and 3 million patrimonial objects, so coin, medals, but also manuscripts, old prints, scores, drawings and prints, etc. When I talked about colleagues that I have to give a presentation for you and CERN, someone said, but we have an old general director who worked also for the CERN. So I wanted to show you this also because he's Herman Liebers. He was our general director of KBR for like 20 years, a bit less. And just before he went general director, he was librarian of CERN. And he talks, he has written his memoirs, and he talks about it. So I must confess that I had taken a kind of liking at the old place. So the old place is KBR, or National Library. And he was a bit bored. He didn't know what to do. And he said, oh, on the 1st of January 54, a solution Deus Ex Machina offered itself. And among the seasoned greetings, I received 2 unexpected job offers. The first one was to become temporary librarian of the European Council of Nuclear Research in Geneva, and the second one to become the assistant secretary of the Belgian American. And then he said, oh, it was 2 such relatively simple jobs. Yeah, it's someone else who said that about Herman, so Herman Liebers. Of course, he could do it with one hand, and he stayed 6 months at Genève, and then did the other job. So he combined 2 jobs. But I found it was funny because we have a connection. There was someone who worked also in CERN. But we had a problem in KBR. So we had a problem. We had I don't know the English words. Not a problem, but something we had to face, and that was that. So we had a lot of books in our stacks, but not everything is in our online catalog. If we are lucky, they are described in the paper cards. So most books are described in the old library cards. But since COVID, we asked our readers to reserve online. So sometimes when someone was in a library and he didn't find a book, or if he wanted to know, do you have the book? We don't find it in the online catalog. That's not a problem. You can look in the library cards, and maybe it's a subject or by author, and you can find if we have the book there, and then there's always written the call number, and we need to call number to get, we don't have OpenStack, so we have to have the call number to be able to find the book. But now the people had to reserve their place. They had to reserve the books they wanted to consult, so that people could, the people in the reading room could search the books in advance and then put it at the desk, so that there's not a lot of human contact. But that was a problem because there were a lot of books who were not in the online catalog, so people could not reserve them. So our direction said, yeah, we have to refill the gap. That retrocatalography is always, it's always been on topic of KBR, but now they really wanted to tackle the issue at a bigger scale. And then we researched, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to scan the library cards? But then the people responsible said, yeah, it's not a good idea because some of the library cards are already in our catalog, some not, but we have lost the book, or the book, we didn't find the book. So that's also a problem. You don't have to make a record if you don't find the book. It's not really lost. Sometimes it's lost, sometimes it's stolen, sometimes it's put in a place we don't know where. So we have the three cases. So he said, yeah, you have to go back to the stacks, and then it's a bit of check of the stacks, but also creating a catalog record for the books who are in the stacks, but not yet in the online catalog. So the idea was, yeah, we're going to look at the existing technology. So you have OCR, optical character recognition and text recognition, mobile photography to take a scan of a document, of in our case, the title page, the user-friendly AI, so the AI, but also an easy way to create applications behind it. The automated subject indexing, I guess some will already, it's one of the first things people of librarians did with AI. Like you give a text and then you say it's about history, it's about biology, etc. So a subject indexing, and then entity extraction. What are names, what are places, etc. So the idea was we're going to take a scan of only the title page, because all the books had a lot of information. The most information was on the title page. Now it's mostly on the colophon, but in all the books, like you had the title, you had the author, you had the place of publication, the year, the publisher, everything you need to know to identify a document was there. So we said very quickly, one scan of each book and just an identification of the document. It's not a full bibliographic record, but for us, it was enough to know what do we have, and for the reader, it was enough to, that's the book I want to reserve it, I want to consult it in the reading room. And we had some, we heard a bit, are there things, similar things in other libraries? And there was a project about master theses, I guess. But this has the advantage that every title page is really, really the same. For a title page of a book, it can differ. It's more or less structured, but still every book is different, or every title page of a book is different. And we don't have coders to create really the hard-coded rules. So we tested with AI, because what AI does is you give examples, you give the outcome, and then it creates its own rules based on the training and the training set you made. And there are already tools on the market to, for example, you scan an offer, you scan an invoice, and then, okay, what's the supplier, what's the address, what are the delivered goods, the price, the VAT, etc. That exists, and a lot of bigger firms use it. Just they make a scan of an offer, and then all the information is extracted in a database, and then they can, okay, we have to pay it, or it's already paid, or they can more easy tackle all the information. But every tool that existed had the possibility to create a custom model. So they all sold a custom model where they give the possibility to test the technology based on your own type of document. So we tested that with the title page. We had some 20 title page, and we created some custom models on different tools that existed. You had, for example, NanoNets, you had Adobe Vantage. We have a whole list of tools that existed, and the outcome was more or less the same and more or less good. So for us, it was good, so that we were able to test it because we knew that using that technology could give an answer to our problem. And then for us, it was important, okay, we have the AI can create something that works, but it was also important that we had an easy tool for manual validation, so that people, catalogers, but also volunteers, because now they're mostly volunteers who are working on it, can validate the AI extracted information. So I will show you more. I will show you an example or video later. And our ICT also found it important that it was not yet another tool that had to work on a different servers, but that was embedded in the existing ICT infrastructure. For them, it was important too, that it was not another tool for a specific project, but that was really embedded in the whole infrastructure that they were setting up for KBR. Then the results, so the tool had to be made fast also, because we didn't have years and years. I mean, we do have, but it was better to do it fast because, people were still at home, and we had to give a solution. Now they can come, so the problem is less existent, but it's still important that we have a good catalog of everything that exists, so it stays on topic. The results had to be good, and also we had to be able to upscale. So we are working, the project started with older books, but now we want to upscale to also the more contemporary books. I will show you also a video about older maps. We are using it to catalog older maps. So it had to be a tool where we could upscale, and we could also use it for multiple type of documents. And that's how we got to Microsoft Power Platform. And Power Platform, it's an old picture because I guess now you have different, or some AI builder is called AI Hub. Sometimes they change the name and they add something. So, but that's the main components in Power Platform. And Power Platform is an environment where you can create applications and automatizations. So we have Power BI, that's the statistics. The main two that I use are Power Apps. That's an easy way to create an application on your mobile phone, but also on your laptop. Power Automate is the automatization. I will tell more about it later. So that's created to automatize a process, a workflow process. You can use the same. You can use the two. They're all connected, because in Power Apps I can click a button, and then a click on the button starts a Power Automated flow. So they're all connected. And Power Virtual Agents is a chat box. So you can create a chat box too, but that is something I don't use. And then you have data connectors, so you can call external databases. You have the AI Builder or AI Hub, where Microsoft offers AI models, but you can also train your own custom model. And then you have Dataverse, and Dataverse is the database behind everything. So I will explain also more. So this was our final solution. We quickly decided that we didn't test the AI Builder of Microsoft before we chose that, because we knew by our other tests that every test is more or less satisfying. So we had confidence that the results will be good. And the advantage is that it's also incorporated in Microsoft 365. So all our logins of the KBR users, it's the same login. I have a login. My Windows login for KBR is the same I use to go to my to open my computer, to open my Outlook, but also to open the Power App I created for cataloging. So it's all the same environment, all the same authentication. So for us, that was also an advantage. Microsoft Teams. In Microsoft Teams, you can add the application. So that someone who's in Teams can go directly to the Retro. It's called Retro app. So it's all connected, and that was also important for us, also important for collaborators, that we have our own library management system. We have then Microsoft, and yet another tool. Maybe it would be a bit confusing. So it was better to diminish the number of separate tools or platforms they had to work in. This is the result. So what you'll see is we have you see it here, a SharePoint. There we can add like 10, 100,000 title pages. And because an image was added in our SharePoint, the AI model for title page was called. They analyzed the scan, and they put the scan here in a table, and here you show the results of that table. So you see the scan, and then you see this is the title detected, this is the author, it's not a good example, the author, and then a book status, it got a review needed, and then in the application, people could click on it, review the information, and correct it. But it's a video, so I will show you. And there's also a possibility to add a book by book, and it's a video where I show this just to show what the AI model does. So this is my demo. It's a title page. Now you see it's analyzing, and then you'll see the results appear here. I will put it on pause because I know it was fast. You see, he detected this as this is the title, Cours de Bibliographie. Yeah, it's a French example. Louis Noël Marquez has the statement of responsibility, so the author. Then the first place of publication is Genève. I didn't know. It's a good example. Name of publisher Libraire Edros. And then the second is Lille Libraire Giard. And then the year is also detected 1951 or 54. And then, so this is done automatically. Now it's done one by one, but normally it's done when I create a SharePoint, when I upload the file in SharePoint, and then people, when they click on the list of results, they have something like this. So the same information, but in fields you can edit. So when there's something, an error or a point too much, or the information is not right detected, it appears, certainly in the beginning, it appeared a lot. People could correct it. And then by correcting it, there's no immediately feedback to the AI model. But now, when the confidence is low, you can use it in the AI model to retrain the model. It's not that every validation immediately retrains the model, or that the model will improve by every validation, because the model is completely different. It's model on the one side and the application, the workflow on the other side. And you can create some kind of feedback, but it's still, you have to decide yourself when you are going to retrain the model based on bad scans or bad results. But it's not that it's done automatically, because that would ask too much to by every scan retrain the model. So this is the application, and that we use for the retro cataloging. So for all the older books that are in the stacks. Yeah, so you can add in batch via SharePoint or via Power Automate. Sorry, there's an error here. Then I thought, okay, if we are going to use it for the older books, why are we not going to use it for the contemporary books? Because for me, it was a bit, I had a team, and one of the team was working that way for the older books, and then you had the legal deposit, the contemporary books, where there were still all manual cataloging. And it still today, because we did not have implemented that already fully, but we are now testing it. But for me, it was a bit strange to do something modern or more efficient for the old books, and then for the legal deposit, there's a lot more pressure from the publishers and for the readers to do it more the standard way. So I thought maybe we can use the same way too. You have paper books, you have ebooks, to create a workflow that uses AI, but also HTTP queries and then linked data, so searches in external databases too. To create much faster the final result, so a Mark 21 XML, in order to present at the reader or at the publisher or at the client your information. So I tested with Power Automate. So that's one of the components of the Power Platform. And that includes an automatization. It's a connection with OneDrive or SharePoint. You have the AI integration with the AI Builder, that's now called AI Hub, where you can use pre-trained or custom models. I will show them later. You can call other databases with HTTP queries. You can create records at your database too, so you can create your own database. And then the final thing we tested, is we want to put it now, okay, you have the scan, you have the bibliographic information, now put it directly in our library management system. And we could do that with FTP, so create a MARC21 XML on our FTP server of our library management system, and then our library management system will search that information once every hour or something like this, and it works too, or you can create directly an API. Now we are testing with FTP, so I think the final solution is FTP because it's easier and there's less interaction or less. For us it's easier because the API is also more difficult to adapt or to change. So just create the MARC21 XML, put that on FTP is for me much easier, and when there's something to correct, it's also just much easier. So in everything we did is, in fact, we try to translate what the human cataloger does, to see what the human cataloger sees, to search what the human cataloger will search. Okay, I found an author. I will search now if that author exists in ISNI database, for example. But these are things we can automatize. If we put it in the same flow, I will tell you more about it. And now we are testing so for legal deposit, because in Belgium we have legal deposit. Publishers have to give a book of every publication at KBR, 2 books, in fact, two items. But then the publishers sometimes want to know, okay, do we have to did you receive the book? And this depends of how fast are we in the cataloging. And now it can take some time, but if we have a flow that can identify the basic information and then put it in our library management system, we can quickly say, okay, yes, it exists already because we have now. And then the human cataloger will still complete it and will still validate all the information, but at least there's something in our library management system where the publisher can see, oh, it exists already. And I thought I had a video, but maybe it comes later too. So the flow needs a tree. I will tell you more about how the Power Automate works. It's a flow, and then I will show you an example of the legal deposit. So a flow needs a trigger. It's when do I need to start a flow? And it can be when a file is created or when a file is created in SharePoint. Now I see it's deprecated, but that's okay. I upload a file in SharePoint or I create a file in OneDrive. And then, okay, we are going to start the flow. This is when I start from Power Apps. You can also create an application. Like I said, you had a button and then click on the button will start the flow. It's a bit the same. And then a click on the button will also search all the files that exist in a certain document library in SharePoint and then start the flow for each file. And in a mobile phone, that's also important. You have a OneDrive application, and in OneDrive application, you have a document scanner. So at the bottom of the OneDrive, you have a camera button, and with the camera button, I can show you, but it's not. You have a camera button. You can scan a document, and then you can save it directly on the OneDrive. So with the mobile phone, you can scan a title page, save it directly on the OneDrive, and then because it's saved on the OneDrive, this flow can start it because it detects, there's a new file created in the specific OneDrive folder, so I have to analyze the information of the scan, and this is how it can work, and this is all done automatically. So, okay, a new scan is detected in OneDrive, or someone clicked the button in Power Apps. Then I have 3 AI models. One is an AI model for the title page that had to detect title, author, publisher, year, place, etc. I deleted year because I saw now that for contemporary books, year is not much mentioned in the title page anymore. It's mostly in the colophon. So then I have also a scan of the colophon that detects ISBN, publisher, etc., etc. And then the back cover, and that's used for the subject indexing. So I have 3 AI models work at the same time. So a file is created, the 3 models will do their work. These are the models you have to use. You see you have pre-built models. For example, extract information for invoices. That's a model that's trained on millions, I guess, invoices, type of invoices. This is just text recognition. This is the one I use for title page and colophon. So document processing and extract custom information, because I have said, okay, I want to extract the title, I want to extract year, publisher, etc. So this is custom information. This is the custom model I use. And then you have some, you have also okay, there's a review on my hotel. Is it positive? Is it negative? So you have sentiment analysis models. And then you can say, it's a review about the sheets. It's a review about the breakfast. So things like that can also exist. Yeah, it's Microsoft, so it's not made for the library world. It's made for all kind of applications. So you have extract most relevant words, for example. Custom entities, you have detect positive, negative, or neutral sentiment in a text data. So this is for, is it a good review? Is it a bad review? So they have made several models based on different types of application of uses in the world. So I used the document processing model where I detect some predefined metadata, a title, a subtitle, publisher, I already said enough. And then you minimum have to use 5, and 5 is really not a lot, because most custom models has like 20 or 50, but Microsoft can already create or train a model with 5. And then it creates its own patterns. Okay, this is the title because it's in the middle of the page. It's bigger. It's the same way a human brain detects a title directly from a title page. It's also because unsubconsciously you see a title page and say, okay, this is a title. Yeah, you don't know why, but you see the title page and you know that's the title, and that's because conscientiously, sorry for my English, you see, yeah, it's bigger. It's written in the middle of the page. So that must be the title, and the same kind of rules. That's the same kind of patterns. That's what AI does. It creates the same patterns based on the examples you give. It's also based on text content. For example, edition statement, we saw that independently of where 6th edition is mentioned in the title page, it detects that it's the edition statement just because it contains the word edition. Because we had, I think it was a subtitle with the word edition in it, and it detected it also as edition statement. So that is why we knew it doesn't only look at the place, but also at the word edition itself. And that's the same for like a year. When it's a year or four numbers, it will most likely detect it as a year, based on also the placement, etc. In the model, you have to make a typology of your title page. So you have to make different collections, because the first thing the AI model does is look at how is the title page structured. Sometimes you have the author, then the title, and then the publishing information. Sometimes you have the author, Josh Eekhout, the title, and then 2 publishers. And sometimes you have printer or bookseller. It's in all books it can be both. And then sometimes you have first the title and then by or door or par and then the author. So we had to make different, I think 6 or 7 typologies, because it first looks at what type of title page is it. It's one, for example, title author. So the text I see first must be the title, because it's I think it's from the typology of the title author. It's something important to know, because for us it was also a learning process, how you have to train your model, or what kind of examples you have to use in order to have a model that works better. Because it was important, for example, to use with the most standard examples and train the model with the standard examples, and not with the big. We thought at the beginning, yeah, we have to put all the exceptions, and there's a curly title. Yeah, we have to. But it doesn't work, because when you use curly titles to train your model, it will detect every text, and like for imprint stamps, and when the text is not right as a title. So it was better to use the most standard examples and train your model that, and then test how it will treat curly titles who are not really straight. So this is how you train. So you just select this, and then you have a title, subtitle, author. It's very easy. You have all your images, you upload them, and then you just you click your mouse and then you select the text, and then it will, you train your model. You have to tag every field you want to see, and then when it's not on the title page, you have to indicate, okay, there's no second author, there's no edition statement, there's no publisher on the title page. You have to indicate that, so that your model knows, okay, on that type of on that page, I don't have to search for a publisher or place. So it's also important to yeah. And you see, I had 23 examples here, and it worked good. And then when you have the AI, okay, I have AI, for example, I have my colophon, I detect an ISBN, I can immediately use that ISBN in another search. Yeah, I can, I have an ISBN, search that ISBN in, for example, external databases to see, do other libraries have already a record about this book or not. So it's something you can do immediately after this. It's important. I want to say that that's one of the advantages, because it's not only an AI model, but it's an AI model that's embedded in a whole workflow. So you extract the information and you immediately use that information too for other scenarios or for other applications. So that's, for me, the big advantage, that it's not, you have some title page, you have a script that analyzes all the information, and then you have to export this in an Excel or something like this. It's a lot of manual work if you do it like that. But here in the Power Automate, you extract an ISBN, immediately use that ISBN in search and use that information that you find. It's a big advantage for automatic workflows. So for example, this is if ISBN is found. So this is a condition I put in my flow. And then if it's found, okay, use a search in KBS. So with us, BNF or DMB. I tested with 3 libraries. And then, for example, for DMB, it's like, okay, get. It's like, yeah, get post. It's your API call. It's the SRU from the DMB. And then I say, okay, search equals. And then 20A value is the ISBN value. I used the Mark 21 fields to train my model. So this is 20A value. And then as a result, I put it in another variable, and then I can do it with that variable what I want. I can use, okay, take $245 subfield A, and I can use all the information when I have put it in my result. I do the same for ISNI. I'm looking at the time, so I'll see if I don't talk too much. So I do the same for ISNI. It's a bit the same. Okay, I have detected an author. Search that author in the ISNI SRU. See if you have a hit. Maybe combine it with a title word. So that in case you have homonyms, search the title and the author and try to look to find the corresponding ISNI. Yeah, it's always a bit tricky, because ISNI is homonym, so name is very important, but also all the other linked information. So I tested. Sometimes I have good results, but sometimes it's also not the right one. And VIAF, I use the same. I search author and title to search in the VIAF work database. This is something finally we won't use too, but I wanted to show you just to show that it can work also. You have to create first your title, first your author, and it can be the AI information, but it can also the information you had searched in DNB or other databases. Then you say, okay, this is the title of my book. This is the author of my book, of my work, and then I search it in VIAF. So you can, do all things with it. You can add it then to Mark 21 or BibFrame. This is the output. The third thing, so first thing was title page, second page was colophon, and then search is linked with ISBN. Third thing is the automated subject indexing, but I won't say a lot because I think it's something that already talked about a lot, because it's already mostly used in or a lot of libraries already tested with it. And the idea is certainly ANIF was the first tool, or the main tool that offered an easy way to create automated subject indexing, and it also works the same way. You have your training set. Okay, this is numismatics. And these are then summaries about, I used my model with French text. So this is summaries about books about numismatics. These are books about codicology. This is books about archaeology, etc., etc. You can use this in ANIF, but you can also use it in a Microsoft tagging model. I think one of the models was also, you can add tags, but you can use the same model to do subject indexing. You can also give a text, send it to ChatGPT or large language models, and then say, okay, what this text is about. You can also you can have good results with it, but it's difficult because when you train your own model, you know what terms will be used or what terms will be suggested. With ChatGPT or with other models, it's less sure. But yeah, ChatGPT has the advantage that it's trained on millions of texts or even more. When you train your own model, you do it with like thousands of texts, and that's already a lot. So the training set is a lot smaller, and that's also a bit disadvantage. I think it's still a lot. When the output is not right, you have to see where in my 1,000 texts is something wrong. So for automated subject indexing, I'm a bit. We searched another way, and I didn't put it in the presentation. But we were looking just at words and make a comparison between here I see a lot of words: history, century. So these words are also linked with subject term history. So we'll attribute history as subject term to this book. But it's a Python script, and we'll try. Yeah, it's not with Power Automate, and we'll write an article, I guess, about it. When it's published, I will let you know. But it's not a way, because I tested with automated subjecting, and I had a lot of problems. In a lot of text you have to train, a lot of monitoring. You don't know why it suggests words that are not correct. So for me, it was not very easy to use. But this said, you can train your own model if you have a training set like this, and you can do the same. We translate to French because I have a model trained on French text, and then say, okay, for this text, the back cover, mostly it was the back cover, tell me what this thing is about. Is it about history? Is it about biology? It worked, but not well enough to already implement it in an automated subject, in a workflow. Last step of the flow is the output. Okay, I have all the information from AI, from the HTTP request, from the searches, and then I create it in the output I want. It can be Mark 21, it can be HTML, but I will show you the video. It will be easier. Yeah. So this is a scan I make. It's just, I don't do it with the ASM, with my mobile phone here, because it was easier for the demo video to do it with a scanner, a book scanner on my laptop. So I scan the title page. I scan the colophon. It's it's a Spanish book, and that's a translation of a Dutch book. Because you'll see on top of the colophon original title, because it's So I have here the 3 scans, and then I say export it to scans. And I don't know if you saw it in the beginning, but that was my file in OneDrive. You'll see this is my OneDrive file where I said, okay, put the PDF there. So because I have put now the scan, I have made the scan, I put it in my OneDrive folder. The flow has already started, the Power Automate flow. Here I just opened the PDF to show you how it looks like, because it's just black and white. It's not a scan will present to the reader. It's only to extract the text. And then I said, okay, this is the output. You see, it created a directory with the ISBN, and then it created the output. And here the output is a Mark 21 file where the ISBN is detected, legal deposit number from Spain. I use it for the National Library of Spain, so that's why I took a Spanish example. This is the title. This is the original title. The imprint information, Barcelona, publisher, and the year. And this is the output of my subject indexing that you can use to implement. And here you have Erwin Mortier, the author, and I searched the author on ISNI, and then immediately I also got the identifier of ISNI, so the ISNI itself, and I can add it directly to my record in a 700 subfield 1 to link the author you have detected, Erwin Montier, directly to ISNI, to the external database. This is a test in BibFrame, because we looked, are we going to use BibFrame or not? So I tested with BibFrame too, but finally we'll see. We still work in Mark 21, and it will stay Mark 21 for a couple of years. So But I just wanted to show that once you have all the information, you can put it in the output. You decide yourself. If, for example, this is just a HTML, you have the same information. You put it in the output. this is Erwin Mortier. I clicked on it to show that it's the ISNI about Erwin Mortier, the Belgian writer. So yeah, this is a bit the outcome of my flow. And now we, we'd say, okay, this flow we always also going to use for legal deposits. So the same workflow, you scan a title page and colophon. The AI detects the metadata. We'll start small, not many HTTP searches, just the AI metadata to create a database that says, okay, you have received this book. And then create records so that the cataloger has already something to start with. And or we have external metadata that we import, or we have the AI extracted metadata. So we'll have the two. And the idea is that the cataloger always has something, doesn't have to create something from new, because we already created a bibliographic record in advance. And this is also a video where I show you. So this is the same retro application, but we have a new component for the for legal deposits. So here I upload manually the scans, but I can, like I said, I can also do it with my OneDrive, with my mobile phone, and scan directly and send it automatically to SharePoint. But here also for demo reasons, I just upload manually. And then you'll see that there's the same flow that starts that say, okay, there's information detected. We have to create a record in an external database, in the Dataverse database. And then in the application here, we'll show you that information. Yeah, you see, so for every scan that's detected, it will create a new record. Yeah, I'll wait a bit. It's not, it's real time. I didn't pause the video, or I didn't fast the time, so you'll see how fast it goes. But when the metadata, you see now, there's some metadata detected. And we made this in an application because when the people who makes the scan, so there's someone who makes a scan, the idea is that he also adds something the AI cannot know from title page and colophon. So the measurements, number of pages, is there a bibliography, is there an index, is there a glossary, all this information. When we scan this to send to the publisher, okay, we have received your book, we say it would be easy that the cataloger can directly add this kind of information. This is the metadata detected. You can also edit it. He also makes the link, search Margarita van Oswald in our own authority database to create a link with our authority. And then the scanner can add, okay, it contains X pages, centimeters. And then when he clicks on the save button, it will create automatically the record in the FTP server and thus in our library management system. This is the whole idea. And this is something I have now made, and we will put into production, I hope, by the end of this year, or maybe the beginning of next year. I don't know if I show you the output. Yeah, this is another flow that I say, okay, create a record and put it on the FTP server. Yeah, for every flow you can see if it succeeded or not. So this is important for us to correct when there's something wrong. And here you say, okay, there's a click on the Power Apps. So this is the trigger is Power Apps. Then get the same row of that record. So it will say get that record, and then create the file content. So what does the file has to look like? This is my Mark 21. And then I say create a file on the FTP of KBR, and this is just file.xml with the content, the content you said above. So this is a bit a very fast demo of what it looks like. Then I gave the same kind of presentation, and there was a school who said, yeah, we will try to do the same to detect for every article in a table of contents, we want to have our own record. And in fact, you can train also a model that it detects a table and then say for every row in the table, create a record. I also have a video of this, but I think it's long, and I don't know if I still have the time. But the idea is, so you have there were scans they did already. So they had already scans of their periodicals. It's a periodical about the school and about education. So now I put the scan in the right folder, the flow will start, and then for every article, for every line in the text in the table of contents, it creates an XML file and put it directly in Kleuters and EXO in the right directory, because it's the number 33, the year 33 and the number 3. So you'll see that it creates for every article in the table of contents its own, it's also Mark 21 XML, but it contains only title and then the name of the periodical, the year, and the number. I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I want to show that, for example, here the first article is Zorg op school, het SMOAT, it's Dutch, sorry. But it corresponds with the table of contents. Lezersbrief. Here, for example, it's about het MD-grade. It's a certain law in Belgium. But for a student who search on MD-grade, it's important that he gets also, this number of this periodical has an article about it MD-grade. So they have now a project to start using that also to do the cataloging on article level and not just on, we have this article, we have this periodical number 33. So to offer to their readers a more in-depth analysis of the periodical issue of the, this is the same where we have received recently a lot of maps. These are maps of the Second World War, and we got them from our National Geographic Institute. These are maps made by the US Army, but you see they're also they have their own metadata on top of it and at the bottom. So you can use the same kind of documents to extract the same kind of information and the same kind of workflow. So it's just create your own AI model and use the same workflow, and then you can also create, just by making a scan of a map, okay, it's a map of France made by the War Department Corps. This is the scale, 1 to 25,000. And I think the number is K17, so that's also important. So now next month we'll start using it for maps too. So this is the end, my end slide. No, this is my end slide. To go back to the photo, okay, what will be the impact of a cataloger? I think the task of catalogers will change if we're using this kind of workflow from instead of handling individual books, it will more like maintain the linked data sets that the AI or that the HTTP queries use. That it's important that ISNI is correct, that all the information in ISNI is correct, that if you use FIAF or other databases, that the information there is correct. So if we do an automatic search, that it search on correct metadata. So I think the maintenance of this set will be more important. Monitoring of the AI models, like I said, for subject indexing, but also for other things. Is it correct? Do we have to retrain the model? How do we have to retrain the model? That will also be an important task, I guess. So more the focus on higher level tasks instead of handling individual books. That still will be necessary, but with the idea to correct the things above, okay, or to add information. Like I showed in the application, there are always information you have to add. This was now in the application, I think, in our library management system too. But the main focus will be the automatic process and then the monitoring of that process. That will be an important task, maybe not 100%, but still a lot of task of our catalogers. So that was it. Thank you. I have a bit lost my voice, so I will drink some.
Thank you very much. We'll give you a moment to
No problem.
to catch up. We already have one question in the chat. I'd like to invite others to do so, but because we have some questions that are from people here in the room, I'll start with, I see one's from Pia. Pia, would you like to go ahead and pose your question, please?
I don't have a question. I just clapped the hands.
Thank you very much. All right, then we'll start with the one question that so far has appeared in the chat. One of the participants has asked, what is the workflow for Born Digital publications?
Yeah, for Born Digital, we have tested several ways. So one way is when you have like a PDF of 200 pages, it was important if you can scan the first page as a title page, the second page as a colophon. Because in the workflow, you have to say, yeah, in the PDF, look at the first page as title page, look at the second page as colophon. So, and that's easy if you give that directions to the scanner, he can scan it in that order. For ebooks or some of like, for example, you have a PDF, you have to detect for itself, okay, what's the title page? So what information I have to detect on the title page? Here, what's the colophon? So here on that page, I must detect ISBN or something like this. And there are ways to do so. There are AI models who can, just by the look of a page, say, okay, this is a title page or this is a colophon. But this is something we have we don't have it yet, but we see different possibilities to do so. We have our own AI researchers that does that already for title pages of newspapers. So he has his own model to detect, oh, that's the title page of a newspaper. This is just page 2, page 3. Here it's again the title page of a newspaper. So understanding more that kind of models. So I think the workflow will be just add an extra step to detect type of page and then use based on that the correct AI model, but we don't have it yet. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Want to invite anybody who either wants to communicate their question again through the chat. Looks like we have a hand raised. Marcus, would you like to go ahead, please?
Yeah, so hi. Hannes, I'm deeply impressed. Thank you so much for this presentation. It looks so quick and easy as you describe it. I'm really interested in much more details, and I guess I have a bunch of questions. To go back to the start, did I get this right? You started with within the Microsoft Suite built-in engine, and then it started with the document processing model, right?
Yeah.
And you took that to train the model with all this bibliographic specifics, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, you have to train your model, and then you have to create your flow and say, okay, I have a new scan. What do I have to do with that scan? And then you say, okay, look at page 2 and use that model to extract the information.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea.
Right, but you actually didn't start from scratch. You didn't have to start from scratch, but with these models that were included.
Yeah, it's a custom model, so you start from scratch with training the custom model. But Microsoft has made everything possible to easily create your own model, and it's just upload 5 images and then tag every document, and then you have your model ready and ready for publication, and you can use it in your flow. So, yeah, the way to create your own AI model is very easy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's yeah, I can show you, but I don't think we have time for that too. But it's yeah, you add maybe if you want, I can show you. But it's easy. It's
As a follow-up question, if I may, when
Yeah.
you say we did this, who is involved in who worked on the whole project?
So
you
we
mentioned
had
an AI researcher and
we decided, okay, we're going to work with Power Automate, and then we had an external firm who we paid, and they developed the retro application. It's a Belgian firm. I can give you the name because it's Inetum Real Dolman. I don't know if you know him, but by working with them, I was interested in maybe I can do it myself. And in fact, it's also made to do it yourself. So I then tested with my own Microsoft Power Automate. And now what I'm doing now is the application that Inetum Real Dolman has made. I add my own screens, like for example, the legal deposit screen. That's something I made. So I think it's a bit, at the one hand, you have to get the expertise of an external firm to create something that works. But if you're interested in it, and you can have a lot of videos, a lot of Power Automate developers will make their own tutorials and videos. And if you're interested in it and you look at their videos, you can learn a lot by yourself and create something that works too, I guess. I mostly did it not during working hours, sometimes the evening, because I know that I have other things to do during the day. But yeah, when it's interested you, I think you can learn a lot by yourself. But this said, I still have contacts with the developer of the Inetum Real Dolman, and when I have a problem, I can still ask him. He can solve it. So it's always easy or handy to have someone like this or a relationship like this where you can do it yourself so that the developer doesn't lose time and you don't have to pay a lot to that developer to do that. But when there's some kind of issue, he can quickly solve it, and then yeah, you don't have to pay a lot because it's just a quick thing. Yeah, I don't know if that was an answer.
Yes, it was, and maybe a tiny amendment from the librarian side. I guess you had your professionals to check for the RDA rules and everything. So how did you work on the quality side of the data there?
Well, in Cabera, I'm also responsible for the implementation of RDA. So the output I created, I made it directly conform or other uses of a catalog and RDA. So I see that one question is also changing titles proper and so on. Yes, you can add things that said, okay, when there's a title, proper the title or lower everything. So things like this, for example, the number of pages you add, there's only a number that the cataloger has to add or the scanner. And then it's me who said, okay, and when it's Dutch, add páginas, and when it's English, add pages. So I make the rules that it's conform RDA. So mostly I do it, but I have, of course, collaboration of people who check the outcome of the AI or check the outcome of the records. But for the moment, it's not yet in production, so it's a bit a small team. So me and some 2-3 people who help me in it. And then after it, I guess when people will start using it, I will get a lot of feedback, and then I can still improve it or adapt it. Yeah, and that's the easy way. I can adapt it myself. I don't have to rely on someone else. I don't have to rely on or ICT team or an external firm to adapt something, and that's also important. I don't have to ask everything to ICT, please correct this, or please add this information in that field because that's not correct. I can just do it myself. So for me, it's a big advantage. But you have to have the knowledge that you don't do something wrong, or if you do something wrong, that you know how to correct it. And now it's not a problem if I'm doing something wrong because it's not yet in production. But I can guess when people are starting to use it every day and there's something wrong and it doesn't work on Monday morning, that it has to be quickly resolved. So then I think we're going to have some kind of agreement with the external firm too, that they can help in case of something that's too big for me to solve or something like this. But for the moment, yeah, the problem is not there.
Thank you. We still have 2 more questions in the chat, if that's fine for you.
Yeah,
I will
so
read
I
the first
answered
one.
already one about the changing titles.
Yes.
So yes, you can. I will see if I can show it, but it takes a lot of time to show you. So I will explain I will try to do it and mainly in the meantime answer the third question. So yes, we have a website in Flanders. Translated, it's volunteeringjobs.be, and it says, okay, you can, as an institution or as an organization, you can say, we're looking for people who do that or that, and then people can apply. And we did that as a test. Okay, we have this tool, we have a lot of old books, and we're looking for people who validate it. And there were a lot of people, now we have 10 volunteers, and I think it's good. It's a good team, mostly male and mostly people who are retired. So it's people who worked a long time, and I know they want to get away from home, or they want to do something useful, and they do that. So, and it's really helpful because, yeah, most people say also, yeah, we work, we have to use our brains, and then from the one day to another, yeah, we just have to be there in our coach and do nothing, and they still want to do something useful. And they're really interested in improving also. So, and they also come with us for improvement. So I think it's important also to use, yeah, that kind of resources. They're not catalogers, or they're not some work in IT, or some work not doctor, but yeah, in a hospital. But they have the same kind of interest.
But they had to come in, right?
Not necessarily.
Not
The
necessarily.
first time, yes, to get to know and to explain a bit, but it's the application is online, so they can just go to it online.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
testing
I
with
think
the other, but it doesn't work. But I will. Yeah, it's not a problem.
so. That was the last question, I think. Any more questions?
I would say if you're interested in using in some kind of workflow, please let me know, because I heard from a lot of people who are interested, and I would say maybe it's, if for example, National Library of Spain also, every institution has its own application and its own needs, so it's not possible, I think, to create the same app that works for different libraries. But sharing expertise or sharing things can also be important if we're all working in, for example, Power Platform, and I have a problem with extracting this information from Mark 21, or how can I do it? It can be interesting to learn from each other if you're going to use that way kind of methods. But
Great. And can we take a last question, Catherine, from Marcus?
Yes, we can go ahead, please.
Thank you. So you mentioned the volunteers, but what about the staff? Then this has to have some impact on your professional descriptive cataloging staff, right? So how did you deal with them? I guess they're even resistance.
First of all, they know that we are less and less, and the books are more and more. So I think somehow they know that we have to look for ways to automatize the process, because you can say, no, we're doing everything manually. Yeah, okay, but you'll see also that the stacks are filling, and we have to find a solution. So I think they are aware that we have to find some kind of solution. They can do the validation at home. That's also important. If someone scans, they can use it for home telework. And that's also important since COVID, because then everybody had to work at home, but they couldn't work at home because they didn't have the books. So that's also the process where they started to use scans and to make scans. And now they are making the scans, but we don't do anything with the scans. And it's just, we're going to use the same way of scans, but implement already all the detection. So taking the scans is something they do already. It's just the extraction of the metadata and the information is new, and I think that will help them. And also important, I think, in modern catalography, it's not the description of every book that will be more important, but also all things related to RDA, LRM, linked to the expression, to the work. And this is more difficult with the AI detection. That AI detects just the information, and I think the cataloger will not just type the title, etc., not lose its time with just the typing, if I'm going to say it like this, but use that time to add the right links to the right authorities, persons, to the works, to the expressions. So I think the linking of will be more important, and that so they won't lose their job. They will just use it time different and more on another level, I will say it like this. So I think we don't have a choice then skip the typing part and do that automatically, because it's a bit strange to lose. I'm using a bit strange word maybe, but to lose a lot of time by just typing everything, that something can be quickly done. And it's better to use that time for the more interesting or more difficult aspects in cataloging, like RDA and LRM and every new things, because that's also something we want to implement. It's a bit on the different levels. So yeah, we don't have much reaction yet, but people who have worked on it, because we're working with the volunteers, but sometimes we ask people who they're not against it. I'm going to say like that. They're not against it. Maybe they think, it's a bit of shame, or but for the moment, they're not against it, because I think they realize there's no other way for us in our small country, Belgium. I'm not speaking for every institution. I'm just speaking for our national library.
Well,
So-
Salome, I think that might be exactly the right place to stop. Thank you very much, Hannes, for this presentation. Thank you everyone for your participation, your questions, both on video and also in the chat. To let you know, a recording will be available both from the A-List website, from the A-List YouTube channel. I think Centrale Bibliothèque Zurich will also add it to their channel, so you ought to be able to access it from there. If there are any questions, please feel free to contact A-List Committee. I've included the email in the chat. But again, thank you very much for your participation and for making this Library Science Talk very, very interesting for us. Thank you, Hannes. It's been very informative and I think will be very useful for people here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And good luck if you start with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.